Stained glass is a distinctive glory of many church buildings. The windows here in St Michael's are no exception. Most of the stained and painted windows in this church date from the second half of the 19th century, but they pick up a style and purpose which predates the Reformation. Other episodes comment on how the austere Protestant commitment to the Bible and to preaching displaced the lavish artistry of the Middle Ages. During the reign of Queen Victoria, this focus on wordy simplicity was put into reverse by the movement known as the Gothic Revival. Gothic Revival opened the eyes of many Christians, including Protestants, to the role which artistic creativity and representation might play in evangelistic endeavours. The glass all around me in this church thus marks a shift in cultural thinking, while at the same time illustrating the part which all art and architecture can play in places of worship. Christians use art in churches for at least three reasons. Firstly, art is a resource for teaching, for sharing stories about Jesus, the saints, and godly living. This was especially important before the modern era, when only a small proportion of the population could read. It is sometimes said that medieval stained glass was the poor man's Bible, a dramatic and accessible vehicle for conveying gospel truths. But education is only part of the picture. In some large churches, the windows are so high up and their contents so detailed that only the craftsmen who installed them knew what the windows depict. At ground level, the ordinary viewer can only see a riot of colour and shape. So stained glass then is a celebration of the wonder which we encounter in the God-made world, and an act of praise by offering the best of human craft for the beautifying of sacred spaces. Of course, the skills and materials needed to achieve such masterpieces come at a cost, such that only those with considerable assets could once commission these pieces. Therefore, the third purpose of stained glass windows is to act as a very visible memorial to the people who endowed them. They assert the status of the donor and perpetuate their memory. This window behind me in the chancel of St Michael's is a great example of all three of these processes: education, praise, and endowment. In the lower half, we see a couple getting married, and then the deathbed of the husband. I am deeply moved by the figure of the child, kneeling at the bedside of his father. Up above, saints gather around a lamb on an altar. This is a biblical symbol from the book Revelation about the sacrificial death of Jesus. The window then is extolling a fundamental message about the unity of God's people. Christians on earth are linked in faith and love with their forebears in heaven. And so the window is offering us a bridge between this life and the next. Indeed, I think the bearded man in the lower half of the window corresponds with one of the saints in the upper section. This window, then, both contains doctrine and enjoins worship, but it is also a memorial. The viewer might be forgiven for thinking it was installed in honour of the dead man. However, we know that it was given in memory of a woman, Syranka. She's not somebody about whom we know much. But I wonder whether Maria is meant to be the widow of the dead man, and that the window is a claim for her place in heaven. There is a little clue to support this supposition. Look at how the bride in the wedding scene is clad in a luxurious blue gown. Blue is the colour traditionally associated with Jesus' mother, Mary. So we have blue for Mary and for Maria. Surely this woman is Maria Syranka, an earthly Christian who is hoping for heavenly sanctity. Our exploration of this window shows that whatever role stained glass might play in educating the illiterate, an understanding of the iconographical traditions and biblical inference helps us grapple with the fullness of what the artist intended to convey. As the poet George Herbert once wrote, "A man that looks on glass, on it may stay his eye. Or, if he pleaseth, through it pass, and then the heaven spy. Like all good art, stained glass unlocks truth and feeling that mere words cannot.